David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with a special stay-at-home fountain pen review. If you've watched many of my reviews, you're well aware that I like to go into the background and symbolism and histories of companies and pens. Things like that interest me, and I hope it interests you as well. So while reviews of pens with a great deal of symbolism require a fair amount of research and take a little bit longer to put together, I enjoy the end product because hopefully I've been able to give you a better understanding as to what makes a particular pen unique and make you aware of what it represents. The pen I have for you today is definitely one in that category. It is the latest release in the Montblanc Patron of Arts series, and this particular pen pays tribute to Moctezuma I. Now, what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about who Moctezuma was and why he might be deserving of being immortalized in a pen, go over the parts and features of this unique pen, discuss what I care for and what I don't care for about it, show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to Yost at Applebaum for providing this pen on loan for review. Each year, Montblanc gives out their Cultural Arts Patronage Awards. The winners are recognized for their achievements and exceptional contributions to art. Winners receive 15,000 euros to benefit the arts organization or the project of their choice. In addition, they receive a special edition fountain pen, which is that year's Patron of Art limited edition. These pens celebrate an individual who made significant contributions to art and their respective cultures. Since the series began in 1992, there have been models celebrating everyone from Henry Steinway and Luciano Pavarotti to Alexander the Great and Copernicus, as well as many others. Each year, they release two limited edition versions of a pen, one with 4,810 units and a more exclusive version, which is a fancy way of saying more expensive, which has 888 units. Over the years, there's been some variation, but that's typically what they do. So that brings us to this year's model, which pays homage to Moctezuma I. Now, a bit of a quick background on Moctezuma, then we'll take a look at this incredibly unique pen. Moctezuma was the first crowned ruler of the Great Aztec Empire in 1440, which ushered in what is known to be the Golden Age of the Aztecs. During his reign, he shaped the image of the Aztec state that we're familiar with today. It is a state rich in culture and mythology. Now, Moctezuma is also known as Montezuma, but the Montezuma that you have heard of is not the Montezuma I. The one most commonly referred to in modern times is Montezuma II, who ruled in the early 1500s. It's Montezuma II who is represented in the video game Age of Empires. I grew up in San Diego and I'm a big fan of the San Diego State Aztecs. Their spirit leader is Monty Montezuma. So whether it's Montezuma I or II, for someone to still have cultural significance over 500 years after their reign is important. Okay, let's actually get to a pen, the one paying homage to Moctezuma I. The pen arrives in this box with some very cool Aztec motif on it. Inside is some documentation and historical information on Moctezuma. Montblanc always does a really good job creating unique manuals and documentation with their limited edition offerings. And then we have what is one of the cooler presentation boxes that I have seen. The color green and serpents also represented fertility, whether it be for humans or for the land, and we're at the heart of most Aztec ceremonies. There's a little plaque on the front that has the name of the pen, as well as the limited edition number, and inside we have the pen. Let me set this aside. This is the Montblanc Patron of Arts homage to Moctezuma I. This is quite possibly the most unique pen I've ever reviewed. Coming in at 130 grams, it is also the heaviest. This pen has significant weight to it, but as you'll see in a moment, the majority of that weight is actually in the cap. The inspiration for the overall shape of this pen was the atl-atl, which is an Aztec spear throwing weapon which propelled spears over a long distance with great force. Let's start by taking a look at the top of the cap. The Montblanc emblem in resin on the cap is embedded in the engraving of an Aztec sun disk, which honors not only the stone of Moctezuma, but also his diverse architectural constructions and ornamentations in the cities of the Aztec realm. On the rim of the finial, there's a nice square design encircling the cap. It's just a nice detail. Then we have this clip. This is the longest clip I have ever seen on a pen. It is champagne-toned, gold-coated metal and in the shape of a spear, complete with the feather of a quetzal, which is a Central American bird, as its fletching. The very end of the clip is adorned with a red triangular cut stone. While this clip is inordinately long, it is functional. Although I really wouldn't recommend putting it in a shirt pocket. The overall weight of this pen makes that a little prohibitive. I'd recommend it more for something like the inside pocket of a jacket, which can better handle the weight. Then we have the barrel, which is metal with a pattern underneath and coated in a translucent petrol-colored lacquer. The color, as well as the color of the barrel, which I'll show you here in a minute, are inspired by prominent colors in the Aztec culture and were found on the royal cloak of Moctezuma. This pattern was found on the cloak as well and were symbols of his high rank. I really like this treatment. I love that there's a great deal of color variation in the material. It's been polished down and the edges have some coloring of the underlying metal. I think it is gorgeous. Also decorating the cap are two Aztec glyphs, which indicate the years in which the reign of the Aztec king began and ended. Sorry, I am uncertain if this is the correct orientation. I am a bit rusty when it comes to my Aztec glyph translation skills. The cap tapers down at an even angle until you reach the thread-wrapped handle of the addle. I like the detail of the threads here. Then we have the handles. On the side of one of the handles is the serial number of this pen. One of the things I like to find out about a limited edition Montblanc pen is always kind of going on the scavenger hunt of where they put the serial number. And like I said, it's on the handle of this pen. Then there is a bit of a step down until the end of the pen, which actually has dual symbolism. When it is capped, it represents the spearhead of the addle, and I'll discuss the alternate meaning here in just a minute. In order to uncap this pen, my first inclination was to use these handles, but no, you twist the spear tip, and then here we actually have the pen. It is metal and it is coated in a lacquer Montblanc describes as carmine red. As I mentioned, along with the petrol blue of the cap were prominent colors in the Aztec culture, as well as being the colors of Moctezuma's royal cloak. Let's take a look at this nib. It is 18 karat gold and adorned with the engraving inspired by the Aztec glyph for the city of Tenochtitlan, which was the capital city of the Aztec Empire. You might know it by its modern name, Mexico City. The design is a three-armed cactus with a royal diadem and two scrolls. Montblanc does a great job of including unique nib designs on their limited edition pens like this. And here is a look at the plastic feed. This section is metal. There is a raised square ring near the end to help stop your grip from slipping. Now, there is a protective plastic covering on this section I didn't remove, so underneath that, it's much brighter. Then we have the metal threads and a small step up to the aforementioned carmine red lacquered barrel, which is straight until you reach the end. Now, I mentioned the spear tip had a dual meaning. When the pen is uncapped, this hammered metal cone is based on an Aztec sacrificial knife with an obsidian blade. The faceting on this metal looks great. I also like that the end cone doesn't come to a perfect tip. It's multifaceted and a little uneven as well. Coming in at 46 grams with a large piece of metal on the end of this barrel, I do feel that the weight is evenly balanced. Now there is a ridge right here at the end of the barrel, and for me personally, this ridge will rub against the inside of my hand, which I don't find to be that comfortable, but it's not necessarily an issue everyone will have. I just wish that the barrel was just slightly longer in order to alleviate that issue for me personally. And suffice to say, this cap will not post. With this cap being 84 grams, it would have been way too heavy to comfortably use posted. Now, this pen is a piston filler, and I really like how this piston is designed. I think it's pretty cool. The spearhead is the piston, and in order to operate it, you have to pull it back, which causes it to separate a bit from the barrel. In this position, you can operate it like a normal piston. The facets on the spear tip actually help you maintain a decent grip, and the piston mechanism is smooth. Once you have inked your pen, then you push the tip back down, and then it's locked in place. This is necessary because when you are capping and uncapping the pen, you are actually using the piston knob, and you wouldn't want it to engage when the pen is capped. I do care for this piston design a great deal. In regard to price, as you could guess, this is not an inexpensive pen. The Montblanc Patron of Arts Homage to Moctezuma I retails for approximately $2,500, and the more limited version retails for around $7,500. Here's a look at the more expensive model with a blue barrel and a more ornate cap, as well as several other differences. I'll put a link in the notes below where you can see more detail about this pen on the Applebaum site. There is a lot to like about the Montblanc Moctezuma. I enjoy pens which are unique, and this pen certainly is that. I think it looks amazing, and I think they really did a good job of incorporating the elements of Aztec culture. Now, this pen might be more of a stay-at-home pen with its size and weight. Carrying it around in a pocket or even fitting it in a pen sleeve or wrap might be difficult. At this price point, it's obvious that this pen is not for the mass market, but if you are in the market for a high-end pen, then this model is one I feel is well worth checking out. Thanks again, go out to Applebaum for providing this pen on loan for review. Now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Montblanc Moctezuma. In regard to a few other Montblancs, here it is with a Montblanc Alfred Hitchcock, then here it is with a 149, and here it is with a 146. And in regard to some other very large pens, here it is with a Namiki Emperor, and here it is with a Danny Trio Genkai. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Hitchcock, and then here it is with the 149, and here it is with the Emperor. So here we have the Montblanc Patron of Art, homage to Moctezuma. The first. This is a medium 18 karat gold nib. This nib is also available in a wide variety. There is extra fine, fine, medium, broad, double broad, oblique medium, oblique broad, and oblique double broad. The ink that I'm using is Kiwi Ink Aztec. This is what the ink looks like. A couple of weeks ago, I reviewed Kiwi inks, one of their standard colors. They come in a number of unique colors with unique sheens as well as shimmers to them. This particular color is a custom color that I had made. You can get any color of the rainbow made. Since I had mentioned I'm a fan of the San Diego State Aztecs, I wanted to get one in their team colors, which is a red, and then it has a black shimmer to it. This is what the bottle looks like, and you can see the black shimmer a little bit more present here at the top, so you can kind of see that shimmer there. It's really nice. If you'd like a custom ink, then this is a company that I would highly recommend. In regard to some comparisons, that's what it looks like with Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji, and then here it is with Franklin Christoph Urushi Red. Again, one of my favorite reds right there. And in regard to the rest of the writing sample, this nib is very smooth. Montblanc has some amazing nibs. You can get a little bit of line variation out of here if you push it a little bit. In regard to ink flow, this is kind of a medium flowing ink, and so it does just fine. In regard to reverse writing, it is a little bit toothy, but lays down an extra fine line. And in regard to some fast writing, it works just great. So there we have the Montblanc Patron of Art Homage to Moctezuma #1. This is a real unique pen that I'm really glad I was able to check out. Has a lot of symbolism, and on top of that performs very well. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.